Hello everyone, I am Ratika Roy Bhattacharya. Today we are going to start a new topic, life processes. This is a topic of 10th standard, chapter number 6. First of all, I would like to brief you about what things we are going to discuss today. First, difference between living and non-living things. Then, what are life processes, why life processes are important, and nutrition. We are learning the concept of living and non-living things since we were very young. Whenever we discuss about living and non-living things, the first question that comes to our mind is, what is the basic difference between them and how to identify them? For example, whenever you see a dog barking or a child crying, you know they are living organisms. But if you see a trumpet which makes sound, you will definitely say that it is a non-living thing. So there is something which differentiates between living and non-living things. So we are going to discuss about those characters which differentiate between them: movement, breathe, alive, and growth. These are some of the characters which differentiate between a living and non-living objects. When we see these characters in any organism, we find that they are living. But if you see just only a single character, you may find that a single character is not at all enough to verify that an organism is a living or non-living. For example, if we see a plant, it doesn't show movement. It will not show movement. So if you rely on only a single character, you will say that the plant is a non-living thing according to this movement system. But if you see, they breathe. Actually, they do not breathe in a way we breathe, but gaseous exchange takes place. So, they breathe. They are alive. Why they are alive? If, for example, if you see a plant that is 2 meters long, if you see today, it is 2 meter long, and after 10 days, if you see, if there is increase in height, you may say, yes, it is growing. It means it is alive. That is why it is growing. That is why it is showing some growth. So this is the basic thing, that all of these characters show that an organism is living or an object is a non-living thing. We will move further to the life processes. We know that all the living organisms have some system inside their body. Different types of organ systems are there. In all, 11 organ systems we have which perform functions in coordination with each other. Right? All the processes that are taking place in a body of a living organism are life processes. So when we see the functions of all these systems, we find that there is something common between them. Their function might be different. But there is coordination between them. For example, digestion, nutrition, and respiration. These are three processes that work together. Why? Nutrition, when we eat food, that is known as nutrition. It gets digested through the process of digestion. And the same food releases energy through the process of respiration. So we see here that all the three functions are being done when they are coordinating with each other. So life processes are taking place in our body even when we are sleeping. The systems never stop. Now the question is, why these life processes are important? In order to maintain a life, we see, in order to maintain a life, the processes are important. In order to produce energy, the processes are important. And in order to maintain the well-being of all the organs, or you can call organ system, these life processes are important. So one by one, we will go through all the life processes. The first one is nutrition. As I said before, nutrition is the process of taking in of food. Whenever we eat some food or we engulf or we ingest food, that is process is known as nutrition. The components that we eat are known as nutrients. We will see what are the types of nutrition. On the basis of type of production of food, nutrition is of two types. The first one is autotrophic and the second one is heterotrophic. Many people say that in biology you have to learn so many terms, but it is not at all like that. You just have to break the terms so that you are able to understand the meanings and you don't have to remember the words. Now you break this autotrophic. Auto means self, trophic means nutritional level. I am writing just only nutrition. So the type of nutrition in which an organism is able to prepare its own food is known as autotrophic nutrition. Such organisms are known as autotrophs. The best example goes like plants. The next one is heterotrophic nutrition. Hetero means depending or dependent. When we are dependent on other organisms for our nutritional level, it is known as heterotrophic type of nutrition, and the organisms are known as heterotrophs. We know that animals and humans are those organisms who cannot prepare their own food and are totally dependent on the plants for their food production. So today we are going to discuss about autotrophic nutrition. And in the next video, we will be talking about heterotrophic nutrition, in which we will include nutrition in human beings. So you can subscribe to my channel so that you get the update and you never miss any video. Nutrition in plants. We know that plants are different from animals. First thing, they have different types of cells. The makeup of the cells are different. And second, about their ability. Plants are able to prepare their food, whereas animals are not. So there is some speciality, or you can say some special organs are present in the plants. That is why they are able to prepare their food. We know that in a leaf, they have chlorophyll, because of which the leaves appear to be green in color. So because of the presence of this chlorophyll, a process is accompanied, that is photosynthesis. Again you can break the term. Photo means light and synthesis means to make. When the plants are able to prepare their own food in presence of light, the process is known as photosynthesis. Now we will go through the process, how photosynthesis takes place and what are the requirements which are needed. This is the balanced chemical equation of photosynthesis process. Here we are able to see carbon dioxide molecule reacts with water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to produce glucose and oxygen. Let's talk about glucose first. It is the carbohydrate which is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. The extra amount of glucose is stored in the plants in the form of starch, whereas in animals the same amount of glucose is stored as glycogen. One more difference you will be able to know here. Okay, now this was about glucose. We will see how the plants are able to fulfill the need of such molecules. Carbon dioxide, we know that the leaves are directly in contact with the atmosphere, and our atmosphere has oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, all of these gases. So the atmosphere is able to provide that carbon dioxide to the leaves. So the leaves directly take CO2 from the atmosphere with the help of stomata. We will also see how the stomata works. I have drawn two structure of stomata. There is a basic difference between them. Here you are able to see a pore-like structure or an opening, whereas this opening is absent in this one. How this is possible? These are two guard cells which help in the protection of the opening, and it also allows for the passage of carbon dioxide and oxygen gas. So you can say that guard cells allow the gaseous exchange. Here, when these guard cells swell up, the swelling of guard cells cause an opening to take place through which CO2 can enter and oxygen can get released out. Whereas in this diagram, we are able to see there is no opening. Here, the guard cells have got shrinked up, that is why there is no opening, and the passage of air or passage of gases is not possible. This is about the entry of carbon dioxide into the leaves. Now about water. We know that the soil is there. In the soil, adequate amount of water is present. The roots are helpful in the absorption of water and other minerals, and the roots only transfer the water and mineral particles to the upper part of the plant. When the water molecules and the other minerals transfer to the upper parts, they reach the leaves, and in the leaves photosynthesis process takes place. Now about the sunlight and chlorophyll. First of all, what is a chlorophyll? If we see the structure of a leaf under a microscope, we will find small pores, and in the cells we will find that there are some dotted structures. These are nothing but chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are the cell organelle which are present only in plants but not in animals. They help in providing different color to the plants. For example, green to the leaves, brown to the stem, and different colors to the petals. Now, it has a pigment that is known as chlorophyll, which gives green color to the plant. Providing color to the leaves is not only the function of chlorophyll, it has various other functions. In photosynthesis process, there are several changes which continuously take place. The first is trapping of light energy. The light energy we get from the sunlight. Then this light energy gets converted into chemical energy. I am just only writing conversion. And the third process is reduction. The light energy gets converted into chemical energy. After this conversion, a reduction process takes place. Now, a short trick is there to learn the difference between reduction and oxidation process. As the name indicates, in reduction process, something is getting reduced. So what happens? Oxygen is added in oxidation process. Oxidation, oxygen, something similar type of sound is there. So oxygen gets added up here, and in reduction, oxygen gets reduced. Whereas hydrogen molecule gets added up in reduction process, and if we do opposite of this, hydrogen gets removed here in oxidation. So now we see in this process, carbon dioxide is there, carbon and oxygen is present, but in order to get converted into glucose, hydrogen is getting added up, right? We don't have hydrogen here, but here when we see in glucose structure, hydrogen is getting added up. It means something has taken place, something change has been done. What change is that? Addition of hydrogen. And this addition is taking place only through the process of reduction. So we can say carbon dioxide is getting reduced to glucose molecule, right? So this is about photosynthesis process. There are many activities in this chapter. So we will also be discussing all the activities and there will be a separate video for all the activities. So I request you to subscribe to my channel so that you get the update and you never miss any video.